Hello and welcome to How About You, a friendly podcast about just getting along. I am one of your two hosts, Drew, and I have an appreciation of soccer that does not extend past bend it like Beckham. And with me today is
Griffin, and I have a Space Jam level understanding of basketball.
Hooray Sports. And this week we're talking about a bunch of stuff. Like fighting.
War! What is it good for?
Stars is what it's good for.
Is it?
Stars Wars.
And hats.
Hats. All the hats. But not Star Wars hats.
Do they have Star Wars hats?
Baby, you know they got Star Wars hats. Lucas is making that Star Wars hat money.
Ugh.
And now Disney is making half of that Star Wars hat's money.
And stand-up.
And stand-up.
All these opinions and more on How About You.
Coming soon.
Yeah, we nailed that. I figured there was something. Oh, first I took my friend to get a haircut. She told me she had to get a haircut, and like, it took me a second because I've been cutting my own hair for the last year and a half, 2 years, and I guess I forgot that haircuts were a thing that people do. So I just really found that amusing, and for no other reason than I just never do it. But I cut my own hair every few months, and like right before I do it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I cut my hair. I've done it before. It's not a big deal. And then I do it, and then I instantly regret it because I invariably like leave a chunk out or do it too short in the front or in the back or something like that. And I'm always confident going into it and always displeased coming out.
That's definitely one of the things that I leave to a professional. It's cutting my hair and building my house. And, those two things, they stay right in the professionals.
Those are two very different things. That's like making a sandwich and fixing your car.
All right. This body is a temple, and the hair needs to be put on right.
You know, I think I think most religions tend towards short hair or shaving the hair, where there's a religious preference. Oh, although there's the is it Sikh or just Hindu tradition of not cutting any hair whatsoever.
Right.
So I mean, either way, you're doing it wrong. But my point is, I'm not going crazy with my hair. I'm doing pretty simple, short on the sides, long on top, if that, or just short all around. I don't want to pay, really more than $5 for anyone to do that. And then I guess $10 including the tip. So it just really isn't worth my time or my very, very little money to go out for that. So anyway, I drop her off to get a haircut. I drive around looking at stuff. Then we go to brunch, I guess, at a place called the Rocking Horse on Milwaukee in Chicago. Very, very nice place, especially since it was a bar and we apparently beat the crowd, but good food. And then after we finished, my friend was like, hey, we're hanging out. What do you want to do? Let's have some fun. Or what do you want to do now that since you're in Chicago for the weekend? And I was like, you know what? I need to buy a hat because I guess going back to the hair thing, I am balding and I think I deserve a fashion accessory that's a step above, your basic baseball cap.
Definitely. I mean, you're not really a baseball cap kind of guy.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think you're a mustache ride sort of baseball cap fellow.
Well, I tend towards the blank baseball cap. I have a navy blue one, and then I also have a black baseball cap with the logos reading Red Hot Chicago, which is the logo at places at least in Chicago, that dispense Vienna beef. I got that because I worked a week, technically, I was trying to work a second job. It was like literally next door to my last job, so that's where I would go for lunch, at this hot dog place, and they were hiring. I was like, oh, I can work here in the mornings and then go there at night and pick up a little extra cash. But the guy who ran it was just real mess. I was like, hey, here's, I filled out his application. Here's my hours. Here's my restrictions. And then I can't really work a lot of the time. I can work during the mornings on the weekend or at night on weekdays, because on the mornings I take care of my grandmother. And he was like, okay, that's cool. Come in for training. And then I came in for training. And then he was like, okay, now can you come in like every morning? I was like, no, I can't do that. So I didn't work the job, but I did get the hat.
Nice.
And so now I'm looking for, a step up above, my pirated beef hat. And the first thing that came up was this place called, and the Google search was a place called Gurenbo's. And I looked at it, but it seemed like it was so ridiculously fancy. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to skip that. I don't really want to shop for a fedora or a trilby or what have you.
All right, you're definitely not a fedora guy.
You have a very specific notion of me.
I think I have a very specific notion of you. I have a very specific notion of fedoras and also baseball caps. And you don't fit in that preconceived notion of fashion.
Tell me about it. So I guess you've seen my hat by this point, so I guess you've been spoiled, but what hat would you say I should wear?
I mean, this looks very natural. Was it flat cap, I believe it's called.
Sure.
It looks very natural on you.
Does it?
Vision. Absolute vision. He's, for the listeners, Griffin is wearing a brown?
It's more of a dark red.
More of a dark red.
Purplish.
Purplish. I can't super tell in this mid-quality webcam feed, but a lovely colored flat cap. It looks very nice.
Thank you.
So, go on.
So we ditched this was Saturday. I decided this place was just super fancy, not my thing.
Too upscale?
Yeah, too upscale. Also, I mean, not that upscale's not my thing, but upscale prices not really my thing.
All right, fair enough.
So we just we went to a vintage store in Andersonville in Chicago that the name escapes me at the moment, but they had stuff ranging from Hawaiian shirts to Simpsons paraphernalia to everything that was cool in the 90s. So, I mean, they had a lot of stuff, but sadly no hats. So I was like, okay, well, we'll screw that. And then we just went about our business, went to, got some ice cream after that, just walking around and said, hey, let's go to this place down here. There's really good coffee. And we were walking, I was like, hey, wait, there's an ice cream place right here. Why don't we just do that instead? And it was the right choice. I got the Fat Elvis ice cream, which was... Do you have any guesses as to what that was?
Bacon, banana, peanut butter, ice cream.
Very close, and it sounds delicious. I might have to make you a recommendation next time I'm there. But this was banana, peanut butter, and chocolate, I believe.
Okay.
And gotta say, out of this world. One of my biggest gripes lately has been that I can't find banana flavored ice cream anywhere near me. And banana flavored ice cream, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the official position of this podcast, is the best flavored ice cream.
I mean, it's up there, definitely. But I think mint choco chip and coffee. I'm a coffee ice cream guy.
Coffee is good. I was gonna fight you, but coffee is good.
All right. You really? There's no Chunky Monkey in Ohio? Like you can't go to your grocery store, maybe your upscale grocery store, get some Chunky Monkey,
No,
pound down a pint.
I've been to Walmart, Kroger. Obviously, none of like smaller local ones have it. Walgreens doesn't have it. The fanciest grocery store in the area, the Dorothy Lane Market, as far as I can tell, doesn't have it. And even though they have like 20 flavors of gelato, none of them are banana.
Some bitch.
Although I don't want to throw the Dorothy Lane Market under the bus completely. That is where I get my supply of root beer and other sodas.
Okay, but they're fucking it up with the banana flavored ice cream is the issue.
That's my feeling. Okay. Anyway, so we had the ice cream. We went our separate ways. My friend had shows that she was going to, and I went to some other shows. Got to see I'm not sure what you'd call it, a very casual improv show that featured two of my actually I should say favorite teachers in Chicago. One of whom taught me improv, one of whom taught me acting, but both of them are very good. And one of them, Jay Suko, who I suspect we'll be talking about more on the podcast that we record on Saturday. But anyway, he this was on Saturday, this show that he was performing in. Friday, the day before, his wife had given birth to their second child. That Friday night, he was also in the show, and then Sunday as well, he was in the show. They have a very understanding relationship. But it was great to see him. He's just an absolutely wonderful guy, which again, I guarantee, I won't even have to bring it up, but we'll hear about him on Saturday. So anyway, then I go to my second show of the night, which is No Shame Theater, which is run by the Agency in Chicago, the Agency Theater Company. But it's somewhat of a national theatrical open mic where there's no shame theaters in cities around the country, where basically almost anything goes. And that night it did. There was I'm going to say generously say early 40s woman who did some sort of beat poetry before she started to strip. Luckily, her allotted 5 minutes cut off before she got anywhere near completion.
All right, so she started beat poetrying, and then started to take off her clothes.
Well,
It
related. It was about her identity and how people viewed her and stuff like that. And all power to her. It was a good piece. It was interesting. It was empowering. It just
but it was actually performance art and not just crazy town is really the important thing here. It's okay to say a little column A, little column B, but
I think I'll go that way. I'm just saying it wasn't something that I had expected to see, and not something I was looking forward to see.
I mean, that's one of the beauty things of like going to an open mic, I think, right? You're gonna see some crazy shit.
Yeah. At this open mic, I realized though that it's basically a good mix of crazy theater people and stand-ups just looking for somewhere to do time.
Right.
And every single time I've watched it, and almost every single stand-up I see, I was like, oh, that's why I don't like stand-up.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few open mics, and there's kind of like the three different kinds of people who show up, right? Like the comics who have a voice, and you think like, all right, they're pretty good. Like they could do, they're getting better. There's the comics who just get up and talk for a little while, and they kind of suck, and you're like, all right, you suck. And then there's crazy people, like absolute nut jobs.
Well, I mean, there's nut jobs and there's nut jobs.
All right, fair enough.
There's people who, you know, are off their meds, and there's people who, you know, they just want to, aren't properly socialized, I guess, or, you know, are extensively trained in theater and want to do something new. I think those are the same thing, not properly socialized and, you know, involved in theater.
That's a much better way of putting it, and I apologize for saying nut job like 7 times, but
yeah, I just, so much of stand-up to me seems like a lot of effort and a lot of intelligence put into being as dumb as possible. And me, at least as a person in the audience, it's not something that I enjoy. Is like, hey, look how clever I misunderstood this thing.
All right, yeah.
And not to say, I mean, there's comedians who that's their specific shtick, and they do it so much better than. I mean, obviously, a nationally touring comedian is going to be better than your average open micer, but I do feel like say a Brian Regan, who has multiple hours on what a dumbass he is.
Right.
I think there's a difference between saying, wow, I'm dumb and I can't believe I'm getting through life and I'm still alive, and wow. And then there's, I'm going to show you how smart I am by being incredibly stupid, just so you can see how smart I am. And it's just not interesting. It's not, I don't know. I don't think I've fully thought that out. Or at least not where I can express it fully.
Who are your guys, though? Do you...
My comedians?
Yeah, do you have like a 5 that you can name up and you're like, these are the guys?
I don't have a 5. I mean, I could absolutely name 5 and I would stand behind them. It's not like I'm not a big on list person.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to make a list. I'm just asking you to name 5.
Name 5?
Name 5 that you're like, these guys, I like them.
Stuart Lee, Rory Scovel, Todd Glass, Brian Regan, and now that there's one slot, it becomes so much more difficult. I got 4, no problems.
Killed 4.
See, this is the problem with lists. It's like, well, even if I don't question, if like, I'm gonna say he's like the 5th and better than everyone else in the top 5, but then there's a question of like, are my tastes adequately represented? Let's just say Paul F. Tompkins.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one right there. I like it. So I only know 3 of your 5. I don't know the other 2.
Which 2?
The ones that aren't Todd Glass, Brian Regan, or Paul F. Tompkins.
Well, Stuart Lee is a British comedian who began comedy in the 90s, and then he retired briefly from that to make a go of it in the theater, where he wrote the words to Jerry Springer the Opera, and then he was then hounded for several years through the British courts for blasphemy, and before that was taken off the books, I believe, in the last few years. But he's a very eloquent, very masterful comedian. He has... well, I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's... but his 90s comedian special has one of the absolute best opening lines of any comedy special ever. And then Rory Scovel, I would say, is he's from somewhere in the South. I'm not sure where, but he is now located in Los Angeles. He's on a TV show that I don't watch and don't remember the name of, but I'd say he's really the epitome of the just fucking around comedian, where he'll just do whatever and make the absolute best of it. There's a video clip of him at a festival where he, looks around the stage and realizes that there's scaffolding, and of course then decides to climb up the scaffolding and deal with the problems that then ensue. But he's a wonderful comedian, and you should check him out.
Definitely.
So anyway, the hat thing. The next day, Sunday, we get up and we walk around. I'm not 100% in the neighborhoods, but it's very near to Wrigleyville, by Wrigley Stadium in Chicago. We're just walking around and walking past a storefront that happens to be Gurin Bros, just a different location than the one I looked at before. And I was like, yeah, well, it's right here. We might as well go in. And they're having a closing sale because that location that was their last day. So everything was incredibly cheap for hats, or what I assume hat prices are. I'm not big on the hat market, whether it's up or down. Although, if they're in a hat market, I have to wonder, what hat does the bear wear and what hat does the bull wear? That's a joke for high school economic classes.
That buzzes the tower, like, straight up. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Anyway, we'll save that for after class.
All right.
So I tried on the hats. I find a couple of my size. This one, my friend recommended me as the best color that suited me. So I said, all right, I trust you. I bought it. Love it.
Nice.
And I've been rocking it this week.
Huh. So who made the hat? Is it like a store brand, or is it like a Hannah hat, or what's the...
Well, it says Gurin Everyday Originals since 1895, but it does also say made in China.
Okay.
So, who knows?
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need to get a haircut because my hat at current does not fit the dome. Got too much hair.
That's a very niche problem. One that I would recommend solving with a pair of clippers.
Yeah, I need to get my booty to a hair place and have them cut it for me because I've tried it. I've tried the buzz my own head thing. I looked like a patchy ass dumb some bitch who tried to cut his own hair. That's what it looked like.
Well, the clippers come with guards of different lengths. You can, you have options for what you do with your hair. It's just, it makes it easier to, do the back of your head because you don't have to look at it because it's going to be this certain length.
Excuse me. The back of my head. I can't see the back of my head. How does this even work? It's impossible. There's no way. I don't know what kind of voodoo wizard magic you're doing, cutting the back of your own head, but it's kind of a no-go over here. It's like, Moms, come here, shave my head for me, at the very least.
Well, it sounds more like, Mom, I can't do this.
Look, man.
I'm going to the store.
That's right, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong at all. I mean, I applaud you, but I believe I told you before that it's the first sign of madness, right? First step is like, oh, it all makes sense. Second step, I'm going to start cutting my own hair. Like it's a 2-stage process.
For someone without degrees in the field, you're very quick to make the psychiatric diagnoses this podcast.
Apparently, I'm very quick to make bullshit psychiatric diagnoses, and I should probably check myself before I wreck myself.
Or before you become the next Freud.
Either way, you know.
There's a lot of cocaine that comes with the position.
Man, not a fan. So I guess I can't be the next Freud. It's a damn shame.
Well, I mean, you either do it or you sell it, and I mean, a lot of money in that.
There is a lot of money in that. All right, maybe we're back on for the Freud deal. I don't know. It could go either way.
I hope you go down the drug dealer business, the psychologist / drug dealer business, because I guarantee you'll start cutting your own hair. Just out of suspicion that you can't trust anyone, if nothing else.
All right, hold on. If I'm a drug dealer, I go to the Thug Nasty barbershop, and I pay my way with cocaines. It's going to be great.
Have you not seen, I'm assuming Godfather 1 and 2, or Eastern Promises?
I have seen Godfather 1 and 2, and have I seen Eastern Promises? I don't remember if I've seen Eastern Promises. That's the one with naked Viggo Mortensen, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So, I mean, just from those two, I think you can tell that, you know, the barbershop isn't the most secure of locations for the drug dealer.
All right. So, all right, did I go to just the hair salon then? As a drug dealer? Is that a more secure location? Nobody ever gets killed in a hair salon.
I'm telling you, you got to cut your own hair, or you have to have one of your lieutenants do it, like in the stash house.
All right, so I'm going to one of my...
But then that raises the question: how much can you trust your lieutenant? Is he gonna jam these scissors into your neck or your eye, or is he just gonna shoot you in the back when you're, caped up and glasses off?
Could be. It could be. I think, when I go to the Henchman Academy and pick out my henchmans, I will have to make sure I pick out the most loyal ones and also the most dexterous with a straight razor.
You're walking a fine line there.
A little bit of a fine line. It's very...
It's the fine line of a straight razor.
Walking on the razor's edge, as it were.
Which brings up, let me ask you this: how do you shave?
How do I shave?
Yes.
I shave right now with a pair of buzzers to keep the hair short on the face, and then I have a safety razor to.
Okay. That's what I was asking, if you use a safety razor or a straight edge, or if you use like Gillette, the best a man can get.
No, I'm one of those wet shave guys who uses a safety razor.
Oh, I mean, as am I. So.
All right.
So we'll just leave the judgment up to our listeners.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Look, listener. You can't judge until you've given yourself a wet shave. It is magnificent. I'm just saying. Once you go wet shave, you don't go back to shaving cream in a can. I'm just putting that out there.
And,
unless, do you shaving cream in a can? Is it?
I haven't worked my way up to the frothing myself yet with my own brush yet.
Oh man, you gotta work on that froth game, dude. Like once you go there, you don't go back. I'm just saying. Or maybe you do go back. I don't know.
Once you're froth, you don't go to Hoth.
That's the thing.
That's the jingle in the Star Wars universe for straight razors. I've done a little bit of writing for the upcoming film. I'm not credited, but I did some punch-up work on the script. You'll see that in the background.
All right. So on some flyers, there's some Griffin punch-up work.
Han Solo and Chewie are on the Millennium Falcon watching daytime television, and that's one of the commercials.
Okay, I like it. So is it like RoboCop, or just flipping through commercials every once in a while?
Well,
Star Wars by Paul Verhoeven.
Well, no, them watching daytime television is kind of the frame of the scene, and then like Obi-Wan Kenobi's ghost appears in front of them, and he's like, "Dude, what you doing? I'm trying to watch TV." He's like, "Hey, I'm a ghost. I'm one of the Jedi ghosts. I only show up to tell you important things. I think this can wait. We're in a highly advanced galaxy. Surely you have some form of TiVo." And then Han's like, oh shit, whatever. Go on, old man. And he's like, by this point, you're as old as I was when I died. And then they just, continue bickering. I don't want to spoil everything.
Man, I can't wait to see this movie. Scenes like that, how could you go wrong?
It's very much grumpy old men. I recommended that they go the old Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau route.
All right, I don't think you can go wrong with Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, Star Wars.
I mean, if they could have filmed those two guys as Force ghosts, like that would be a whole trilogy right there. That would be smashing blockbuster records, like all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Sweeping the Oscars.
Yeah, the Oscars, the Grammys. I didn't know a movie could win a Grammy, but it did. So.
The American Spirit Awards.
Oh, definitely American Spirit. Teen Choice.
Presidential Medal of Valor. Is it Valor? Whatever.
Maybe.
Presidential
Probably.
Medal.
Presidential medals.
Yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize.
There we go.
Nobel War Prize.
They invented a new one.
They invented a new one just for the movie.
It's the Nobel War Prize for the best Star Wars movie.
All right. We established on an episode that has not aired at the time of this recording, but will air by the time this recording is posted.
I hope so.
You're not a Star Wars guy?
Was that your thing? Or?
That was not stated as a question, but you're not a Star Wars guy?
Oh.
I'll have an upward inflection at the. You're not a Star Wars guy?
Not especially, no.
Not especially.
The way it works is I hate the general idea, or I don't hate, but I don't like the general idea of Star Wars, but I generally enjoy the execution. And then I love the ideas behind Star Trek, but I can usually, take or leave the execution. It's hit or miss for me.
All right.
As far as the big two goes, there was a while that I was a very devoted Whovian, if you will, for Doctor Who. But I outgrew that, or just I'm not a fan of the more recent seasons.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can draw a line at Moffat, but whatever.
Well, no. I mean, the probably my absolute favorite episode, or at least one that I think of fondly as a great episode of television, was during, I believe, his first season with Vincent and the Doctor, featuring Tony Curran as Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That is one of the better episodes.
But who was that written by? I don't think it was written by Moffat, so maybe that counts. Bear with me as I Google.
I think if it was written by Moffat, it might have a bunch more Weeping Angel statues and Van Gogh painting them as a Statue of Liberty or whatever the fuck.
This was written by Richard Curtis, who is known for such works as Four Weddings and a Funeral, Bridget Jones's Diary, Notting Hill, and Love Actually, as well as the hit sitcoms Blackadder, Mr. Bean, and The Vicar of Dibley.
Hang on. Whoa. The most interesting thing there is that Blackadder did Love Actually.
Well, I mean, Blackadder, she's like the one guy behind Blackadder.
No, he is the Blackadder.
Oh, he is the,
Clearly.
yeah.
Clearly he is the Blackadder.
No, I'm looking at, yeah, you're right. He is the top billed writer.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
I was just talking smack. Alright, so he is the Blackadder.
Yeah.
And he did Love Actually and Notting Hill? Did you say? Damn.
Granted, movies that... Oh, I have seen Real Actually, never mind. That was okay. I haven't seen Notting Hill, though.
Secret podcast tip, Bridget Jones's Diary is secretly the shit. But anyway.
Haven't seen that one. I'm sure they're lovely. But yeah, Vincent and the Doctor, like, you don't have to know anything about Doctor Who. That's a wonderful episode of television right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's compelling, it's adventurous, it'll get you in the feels, it'll teach you a little bit about art history, and has a wonderful bit role for Bill Nighy. Although I don't believe he was credited. That's a little bit of Doctor Who trivia for you. So, I don't remember your stance on Star Wars. I'm assuming that you like it, because if you didn't, I think I would remember it, as I would feel more warmly towards you.
Yeah, I am ridiculous into Star Wars, to be fair. I still got a child fascination with everything pretty much Star Wars.
Well, I think it might be, I guess part of my thing is that I never saw the originals as a child, and then I saw, of course, the prequels. Love the first one, mainly for Darth Maul's kick-ass fights, and not as much for Jar Jar Binks, who even as a child I found, grating.
Yeah, absolutely. How old was I? I was probably, I was definitely 11. I was 11, doing the math. And I was all about some Qui-Gon Jinns.
Oh.
Like, he was the baddest motherfucker.
Speaking of Qui-Gon Jinn, in 5th grade, I believe, I know it was in grade school, but 5th grade I was in, I believe, when the prequels came out, Phantom Menace, and then we had our library period at school, and one of the tasks that we had to do was write a poem. It wasn't a haiku. It was the thing that's 5 lines. I don't remember. I'm not much of a poet, but I do remember that like one of the lines had to be 3 syllables, and it had to be the poem as a whole had to be based off of a fictional character. I think the idea was that we were supposed to write about a poem about a character we read in a book. At the time, I was reading a Star Wars novelization featuring Qui-Gon Jinn and young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh boy.
So my opening line of this poem was Qui-Gon Jinn, because it was 3 syllables.
Awesome.
I couldn't remember the rest of it for the life of me. But I remember that much, and I remember someone making fun of me for the choice, and me just being unrepentantly, like, confident in my choice.
Like, no, this is the best fucking line of a poem.
Like, A, fits the syllables. B, $1 million, multi-million-dollar smash hit. And it's not, it wasn't Holden Caulfield, so, I won that battle.
Yeah, that's That's 4 syllables, so straight out.
Well, I mean, I could have done a little bit of a jam and take the field to the next line.
Well, all right, yeah. Fair enough. Wait, middle school? Is that... You said middle school, right?
It was... It had to be 5th grade.
All right. I don't know what that is. Like, what age is that? What age is 5th grade?
I was 9.
Okay.
It came out in 99.
All right.
You were 2 years older than me. That's how I knew you were 11.
Okay, that's right. That's how you did the math there. So, is that around the age where people start reading Catcher in the Rye the first time? Like 9?
Oh, I mean, that was...
Or you were just busting balls?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So at least it wasn't Bustin' Caulfields. All right. So what track were we on? We were still talking about.
I asked you about Star Wars in response to you asking me about Star Wars. I had just recounted my weekend.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Star Wars. I have seen all but one of the Star Wars movies.
Wait, what?
In a theater at this point.
Oh, in the theater. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the only one I missed at the theater was Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
And that is absolutely the worst movie in the trilogy.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Do you disagree?
I do think that one and Revenge of the Sith, or whatever it is, are neck and neck.
Now, see, I actually kind of dug on Revenge of the Sith. I went to the theater and saw that shit twice.
I definitely obviously did not watch that in the theater. I did not spend money on that movie. I did enjoy the fight scenes. However, the 90% of the movie of basically anything with Anakin Skywalker Hayden Christensen on screen was just absolutely garbage.
All right, look, you're not wrong. But all the parts where there was just no talking and sword fighting a lot were sweet as hell. And also the space battles. Like the 10 minutes at the beginning of the movie that's just flying through space, zapping shit. All about it. And by all about it, I mean it was pretty good. It was alright.
I feel like when we get to the point of discussing space battles and zapping shit, our opinions on films are irrelevant.
Yes. The actual, critical eye goes out the window.
I mean, we're just discussing which flashing lights were more pleasing to our eyes.
Yes, that is not wrong.
I don't remember if it was Attack of the Clones or Sith, but I do remember that one of those movies was like one of the only ones that I think it was Attack of the Clones with the fight at the end. I think it was one of the only scenes that used the lightsabers as creative, interesting lighting from a film perspective, which I guess kind of mirrors Empire Strikes Back, because that's where Luke and Vader had their fight, in the dark, and the shining lights of the lightsaber kind of did interesting things.
Now I'm trying to think at the end of... Is that the fight between Dooku and Yoda? After Dooku...
Well...
Christopher Lee. The fight between Christopher Lee and the CGI.
So that's where you make a stand? You don't want people to think that you think there's an actual Yoda? you want to clarify?
Just want to clarify. Christopher Lee versus Hayden Christensen. That was the thing there for 10 seconds.
Well, the succession of Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, and then CGI. Probably. Yeah. Also, I do want to say, as
I don't remember the lighting in that scene, so I can't.
I just remember, I'm pretty sure it was that one, but there was like one shot where it was like, oh, that's an interesting thing I would like to look at, as opposed to, a bunch of guys with, laser swords just standing around in a room lit like an office room, office buildings, like just no subtlety or intrigue or anything going on. Like, let's not put any effort into this. Let's just make sure you can see everything. Nothing to add to the drama or the theatricality of it. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're laying down. Absolutely.
So I do want to say, I did recently watch all 6 films. I believe in internal chronological order, which was the first time that I watched any of the originals all the way through, and the first time that I watched Revenge of the Sith all the way through. And I do want to say that I think A New Hope is the only one that actually stands on its own as a complete film that didn't succeed based on hype and zeitgeist or whatever.
Okay. Now, putting aside any sort of nostalgia, maybe, I think that Empire is the better made film of the 3 original films.
As a movie,
though, you're right. Like, A New Hope stands up on its own, and it introduces its characters, and
I'm not saying that they didn't
is well paced.
Yeah, a better budget as far as effects and cinematography and whatnot. They absolutely did have that for Empire. But I mean, A New Hope has quips. They have they give you an array of emotions that you go through, as opposed to just, oh shit, Vader's fucking it up.
Right.
Get out of there, Luke. And I mean, there's something to be said for that, but as a, I guess, ham-fisted blockbuster summer movie, A New Hope is head and shoulders above the others.
Okay, I could give you that. In a certain manner of speaking, it probably also set a little bit of the blueprint for that, right? You think?
For
the summer blockbuster?
I'm not a film historian, I'm not going to say that.
No?
I mean, as far as blockbusters go, I would by far rather watch Jaws. I'm not saying it's my favorite blockbuster, I'm just saying as a blockbuster, it's I'm saying, as far as tricycles go, that one has wheels that doesn't wobble.
Alright, I'll give you that.
I'm not saying it's the Schwinn big wheel fancy tricycle, top of the line. I'm just saying it's a good tricycle.
Alright.
So those are my opinions on a franchise that I largely do not care for.
Fair enough.
Although I have at times read Wikipedia.
Look, who hasn't read some Wikipedia? I'm just putting that out there.
I'm gonna assume everyone that I think is better looking than I am, or in a stable relationship.
Alright, well, I will take that as a, I don't know, some kind of backhanded compliment. But, alright, fair enough.
The important thing is that you took it.
I took it. I've spent too many hours looking at the Wikipedia. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think you had to clarify that. I think that was just assumed by everyone.
I even have the Wikipedia, the complete Star Wars encyclopedia in book format
Ugh.
on my bookshelf. I think I stole it from a library on accident. And by stole it, I mean I checked it out, but they never tracked that book.
Oh, that annoys me so much. I got in a huge fight with my local library because I returned a book and they insisted I didn't. But I checked out 2 books and I returned them together. They had the one. I put them both in the same Dropbox. That they couldn't find the one. It's just insane to me. So what they said was, hey, you're going to have to pay us this or you can never check out books again. So what I did was I never checked out books again. Just, I guess, for the principle of the matter. And for, I'll say 5 years, I did not go to the library until I moved and I got a new library card. And then I'm going to be moving back to Chicago, and I am absolutely looking forward to getting a Chicago Public Library card.
Nice. I definitely still have the library card, but I have not gone back to that library.
just in case.
No, they're not. That book was taken out in a weird period in the library where they switched over from cards that they stamped.
I thought you were gonna say they just broke up and they weren't sure what they were doing themselves.
I mean, a little bit of that too. You know, it was a very hard time for everyone in the Orleans County library system. But they got in all of these shitty pulp fantasy books and also this Star Wars book. And instead of tracking them with the punch cards or entering all of them into the library system individually, they just kind of mass put everything in as general paperback, and they just never tracked them at all to see how long that somebody had them. So I've got 2 books from those, one novelization of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and a Star Wars encyclopedia. And for the viewers, the look of shame and repulsion that went over Griffin's face on the camera was beautiful and priceless at Dungeons and Dragons novelization.
Where am I? One sec. I can't see myself. I'm just in the corner.
Yeah, now you're in the dark.
So I have to stay on this other screen, otherwise don't have enough light to see me. Cause
at least some of us have lighting in our room, despite reading awful books.
Listen,
based on Dungeons and Dragons.
The sun was up when I sat down. It has since set, and being the professional that I am, I have not walked away from my microphone.
The sun sets on all of us, Griffin. Some of us faster than others.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
metaphorically.
That's it has to do with, latitude and longitude.
Alright, that too.
Or possibly elevation.
Potentially. I'm assuming you're not in a valley. Although you may be. I don't know.
I believe I'm in the Miami Valley area or at least close to, Ohio. So, fuck you.
Alright, you sure showed me. Alright, so this is a normal length episode now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, once we start talking about Star Wars, I don't think there's any chance of us cutting it short.
There was no New Hope, as it were.
Oh boy.
Listen, fuck you, alright? You opened the door and I had to walk through it like a total piece of shit.
This may be the episode where things go to shit.
Is this the episode? Is this the episode where we're just done? We're just done with each other.
This is where Simon ditches Garfunkel.
All right.
Is that a thing? I'm not familiar with it at all.
I mean, I know.
I listened to it in
some songs.
Graduate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I guess it's good for ratings for our viewers, as you said. I guess that's our people who follow our YouTube channel. If there's some sort of conflict between us, although I don't think it screams a lot about our marketability if that's conflict in regards to Star Wars.
Right. So my question is, which of us is the Mick Jagger of the group, and which of us is the Keith Richards?
As I've said before on in a Facebook status update, it's like Mick Jagger never said, you can always get what you don't want. So I guess I'm Keith Richards.